Hey guys, and welcome back to an all-new episode of Now Showing with
Cam?
and John. So threw me off guard there right off the bat. He's John, I'm Cam, by the way, if this is your first video. But today is the day. Now, as you all may have known or saw, if you've watched our videos, we are huge Call of Duty fans. Even though the game also pisses us off more than any other video game that's out there at times. It's had its bad years, its great years. But this year we were extremely excited for the release of Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
We did a whole video called Why We're Hyped.
Yeah, we played the beta. We basically reviewed the beta. So if you haven't watched that video yet, you may want to check it out first to see what our anticipation was going into this game. Of course, the game came out on October 25th, and we've been playing it since then. So today we are giving you our official Call of Duty Modern Warfare review. Now, it is tough with games like this because you get new content throughout the year. They're constantly making changes, nerfs, adjustments. So sometimes a game may start out terrible and then become great, or a game may start out great and become terrible, which we've seen throughout the years of Call of Duty. So sometimes doing a review this early on isn't necessarily fair or unfair, but we're going to do it because we've got our hands on the game now. We've played quite extensively, and now we haven't, John, you haven't beat the campaign yet, right?
No,
you're into it.
Yeah.
I've beat it. Spec Ops, we hadn't tried till last night. We finally got to play that quite a bit of detail, and of course we spent most of the time in multiplayer.
We played survival. We played pretty much
everything you can
multiplayer mode that there is too.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we have a bunch of different categories to go over. Some of them we'll talk about in more detail. Some of them will just kind of be quick opinion. And then at the very end of this video, we will give our official score out of 10 of what we hold Modern Warfare at right now. And like we said, the anticipation was extremely high going into this game because
if you didn't see the other video, and just to save you some time, this is what I said about this game. I said that if they do a couple things right, this could be Game of the Year.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm bringing to right now. That's what I brought, was this game could be, from what I saw in the beta, Game of the Year. So
yeah. So, alright, so we're going to get it started. Like I said, some categories will be more extensive, some will be kind of a quick run through. But without further ado, let's start off with the when I say the category, I'll let John give his first opinion, and then I'll go after him. So let's start off with the first category, which is graphics.
The graphics are by far the best graphics that we've seen in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
They are crisp. They're realistic looking. You feel like you're like wherever the map might be. In multiplayer, even from what I've played in the campaign, it's gritty. You feel it's very immersive. That's how well the graphics are. The cinematography, the movies and stuff, are next to almost looking like they filmed them live action, and then just everything else just looks real good all around.
Yeah, completely agree. Same opinion. Immersive, I think, is a great word. This is the first Call of Duty built on primarily a new engine from all the other ones, and the graphics really show. The graphics are by far the best Call of Duty's ever presented, especially when you go into the campaign, which we'll talk about in that section. But the graphics, the cutscenes, the movement, the smoke coming off your gun after firing, it just looks beautiful. They did a great job with the graphics, so absolutely. Next category, the sound.
I mean, the sound in this game, we've talked about it before. It held true from the beta to the actual game. The best sound in any Call of Duty. I'd say the best sound in any first-person shooter that's based in a more real style. From the gunfire to the explosions to hearing footsteps to whether you're outside, inside, crouched, standing, running, walking, they put a lot of effort into it. What you're running on, if you're running outside of the grass, if you're running on metal, if you're running up the stairs, that's what you
Yeah, completely agree. This may not just be the best sound effects in a shooter, but maybe in video games in general, because they captured the essence of all of the guns that are in the game. The surrounding environment, when explosions go off in your headset, you feel like you are caught in an explosion. The sounds of tanks roaring by, the call outs, the acting, the voice acting, everything sound wise is just pristine. It's nearly perfect.
Real quick, I will say one negative to the sound. It's incredible when you're playing by yourself, but for me right now, I haven't been able to find a good blend to kind of like adjust things to whenever I'm playing in a party. So when you're playing like on say Ground War and they're calling in kill streaks or even like team deathmatch or multiplayer and you're trying to communicate with your team or your team's trying to communicate with you, I've had a few instances where like I cannot hear what they're trying to say or it's really like overpowered, which I kind of like the more I'm talking, like it kind of makes sense. It's supposed to give you that realistic to like, if that was really happening, I couldn't be like, "Hey Cam, there's a guy coming behind you." Like you wouldn't be able to hear because of everything. But it gets a little annoying at times when you're trying to communicate.
Yeah, and the negative that I was going to point out with the sound is the footsteps. I still think they are far from protecting or perfecting footstep noise. Footsteps are just way too. I feel like if you have a good set of headphones, the enemy is going to hear you coming from far away, and it's really hard to try to move around because they can pick up on it, and then also a lot of times even your teammates' footsteps are distracting. There's got to be a better balance in this. I know that's something that Infinity Ward claims they're working on. Hopefully they can get that fixed. But for the most part, sound design is really good in this game. All right, next thing is going to be customization, primarily gunsmith, and what little we've seen of character customization.
Not too much to really say on character customization because there really isn't much right now.
Just a couple outfits.
Yeah, there's a few outfits, and it's not like you can change individual things. Right now, it's literally just the outfits. I do like the outfits that they gave us for the pre-order and everything. I thought they were pretty cool. They did actually look real good on the characters. As far as customization goes for the guns, is two parts. The first part, obviously, being able to do the camos and everything. I'm gonna be honest. The camos that I have seen, and I have a good many of them unlocked on a couple of the guns, they're a little lackluster to me. As far as like doing like the digital, doing the dragon. The dragon one I kind of do like, but some of the other ones I just don't. I don't know. Like they don't have that. Same like impact that some of the ones that you had on Black Ops 4 or even on like Modern Warfare 2 with the different like patterns and everything. And a lot of the guns I kind of liked better just their stock, just straight black, just simple. That might just be my opinion. As far as the stickers, I'm not big on a sticker person. And then as far as like the weapons charms, I'm not a big weapon charm person either. I mean, it's kind of cool. I got a little sushi roll now that they fixed the bug that was in there that it messed up your hip firing whenever you had a weapon charm attached. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like of all things, like a weapon charm affects the whatever. But the more important part of customizing your gun is, I find, incredible. At first, it's a little overwhelming, but once you use a gun and you level it up, which a lot of my guns I have almost maxed out, the ones that I really like to use, and I mean, the attachments that you can. I have the one gun I was last night, like what I do whenever I get off at night, the last thing I usually end up doing is I go through my loadout, see if there's anything that I want to tweak. And I love the Odin. It's one of my favorite guns. So last night I was looking at it, and I think I have 20 some sights unlocked. And I was looking, and I still have like another like I can't remember, like 18 more like sights to unlock. I'm like, gee, like how many like? Yeah. And like that's one of the guns I've used the most. I have a lot unlocked for it. The same as which this gun will probably get brought up a lot. The M4. A ton of different attachments, not just sights, grips, stocks, weapon ammo types, barrels, suppressors, muzzles. There's just like there's so many different like things that you can do, and like it's not your normal like, all right, I want to have a suppressor. Like you can put a lot of thought into how you want to play. Unfortunately, you can't really play a lot of the ways that you want to play, even though they have different attachments that like are geared towards playing that style. So But yeah, I would say the customization is solid right now. I'd just like to see a little bit more in the cosmetic aspect, as long as it's not, I don't know, affects everything else.
Yeah. With the customization as far as characters, like John said, there's really not much you can do. Each character only has about 3 or 4 outfits to choose from right now. Of course, that'll all change when the Battle Pass releases. That's when they're going to get into all the cosmetics. So we'll have to talk about that more when that happens, because the Battle Pass, excuse me, is still not out yet. As far as the camos, they are a little lackluster, but at the same time, I do appreciate them not doing anything too over the top right now. We don't have any unicorns or weed camos or anything like that. Who knows if they'll stick true to not adding that kind of stuff in as the game comes out. We'll see.
Even some of the calling cards, like, they really aren't. Some of them are cool, but it's another one. Or like the emblems aren't really.
Yeah. And there's a lot, I'm sure, that we still haven't seen yet, and that's to come too. Now, as far as the gunsmithing, like John talked about, this is by far the best gun customization Call of Duty's ever done. In terms of leveling up your guns, most guns have upwards of 70 levels, if not more, to unlock stuff for. I think the highest gun that I have right now is the M4, the gun I've been forced to use the most. Yes, that's right words there. Yeah. And I think I have that at like 50 something, so I still have like 20 some levels to go for that gun to get the rest of its attachments. It is insane, the amount of attachments. Yeah. Unfortunately, which will lead to a little later, you can't run all the attachments you would like to. You're kind of forced to use attachments that give you the best ADS speeds and things like that because of how this game is. But by far, they went all out with gun customization. And that's going to make it so much fun when they do add new guns to the game, which are supposed to be free and unlocked immediately, because you'll know you have a whole ton to unlock for that gun. And there's still a lot of mystery, because I've been trying to use different guns, and I have so many guns still at low levels. And I've had friends that have used a particular gun I haven't, and they said the gun was bad, but then they got it up to like level 50 something, and they got these attachments that made it spectacular. So there's a lot of surprises, and there's going to be so many gun combinations that come out throughout the year that, like, oh my god, I never tried this gun like this, and it just made it into a whole new weapon. So yeah, the gun customization, or gunsmithing as they call it, done very, very well. I couldn't ask for more. It's a little overwhelming at first, but it's well worth it. Camos are fine. And we're going to see a lot more of the cosmetics once the Battle Pass launches, which we're eagerly awaiting to see that, because we've got all these free COD points to spend since we bought the upper editions of the game. Okay, moving on from customization, I think so we both agree it was done really well in this game, so far at least. Next, we're going to cover kill streaks. How do you feel about the kill streaks that are in this game?
Honestly, I don't really have a problem with the kill streaks whatsoever. Some of them are a little lackluster. I like I've never been a fan of the ones that you have to basically takes you out of the game and control. I understand, like, they are really good, they're powerful, but I don't like the fact that, like, I can die trying to use a kill streak, especially like if it's one that I'm in the process of trying to get to one of the upper kill streaks, and I have to use that one. Granted, you don't get, I mean, you can use some perks so your kill streaks go towards other ones, but I don't run that, so it kind of like is a little scary to try to like go out, try to find someone, and like you come back and you're like, oh crap, I was killed. Yeah. So, I mean, granted, there are ways you have to kind of like run hide, but it's still, you never know.
Yeah.
And then like some of them, like the Juggernaut, it was a little bit lackluster, for might be the correct word for it. A little underpowered, easily killed, and you're talking 15 kills to get the Juggernaut, and you might get 3 kills out of it, and it has a wind up, so like and it's real slow, and you're walking and someone starts shooting you, you drop down, and then you can finally start shooting. By that time, like a lot of the times, like it needs to be buffed a little bit. If you're gonna have that wind up, the armor needs to be upped a little bit also. Or like you might have to have, say, stopping power rounds, or maybe have like a rocket launcher to defeat or something like that. You shouldn't be able to like shoot them with an assault rifle and kill them as quickly as you do. But as far as I don't really have an issue with any of the kill streaks.
Yeah, I'm underwhelmed with the kill streaks in this game. The thought of them and what they are supposed to do
I have
is
one that I don't like real quick. It is actually a good kill streak, but it's annoying whenever you're not the person that calls it in, and the person that calls it in is on your team, and they're getting all these points, and that's the white phosphorus. I just think it affects your team way too much. Like, I understand what it does, the purpose of it, but like he calls it in, and I can't see anything. Like
Yeah.
it literally like.
yeah.
So I'm in the process of getting my kill streaks. He calls that one in. I can't see out of nowhere some guy's camping, and he kills me, and I like it's.
Yeah, the kill streaks I'm underwhelmed by. The thought of them and what they're supposed to do seems all fair and well, but in reality, most of them don't play out like they should.
Yeah.
So, in touching with what he was saying, the Juggernaut is the highest kill streak you can get, 15 kills. And in this game, getting 15 kills without dying, in previous CODs, isn't that seem that hard, but in this game, sometimes it feels like it's impossible. And when you get it, there's no reason ever that a kill streak that is the highest, that you have to work the hardest to get, you should have to throw a smoke grenade out like you would a care package and have to wait for it to drop, because obviously most times you're going to die waiting for it to drop. It makes no sense. You should automatically turn into the Juggernaut, and I understand they're trying to keep it realistic, but okay, here's how you keep it realistic. As soon as I call it in, transport me out of the game, I immediately become the Juggernaut in a helicopter, and I come down from the rope, and I'm on the ground now as the Juggernaut. So that way there's
like
no
when
chance.
you go into the chopper gunner, you go into
Correct.
It shows you at the dash, and then
once you become the Juggernaut, it does play some pretty badass rock music, which is cool, but you move less than 1 mile per hour. There is a delay when you shoot your torque gun, so when you see people, you have to wind up before it shoots, and they're all shooting at you, and you die very quickly, and a lot of times you only end up with a handful or less of kills. So in my opinion, it should not be where it stands, the last kill streak you get. Also, you have the chopper gunner, which is way better in my opinion, which is like 5 kills less to get, so it doesn't make any sense. The white phosphorus, like John mentioned, I think it's a cool kill streak because you get a lot of points from dropping it, but it should not affect you or your teammates' view. When it happens, you and your teammates should automatically put these goggles over your face that make you be able to see clear, and it should only affect the enemy. You have kill streaks like the cluster missile, which is supposed to be like this game's version of the Predator missile, but it is done so poorly. It's so hard to control. The Predator was awesome. You could just zoom that thing down onto people. In this game, they make it far more difficult to do so. The personal UAV seems like a waste of time. Then there's the UAV, but yet it's tough. You can't run a UAV and counter UAV. You can't do both. If you have one set, you can't have the other, which is very weird. You can use kill chain, like John said, as a perk, which will make kills you get from a kill streak combined to add to your other kill streaks.
But they don't wrap around.
But they don't wrap around. So once you hit all 3 kill streaks, you have to die before you can get them again, which is ridiculous. And also, you really can't afford to use kill chain because everybody's got to use ghost in this game because everyone has to stay off the radar. It's just the kill streaks have been very frustrating to me, and honestly I feel like the most devastating kill streak has been the VTOL, which is like a 7 kill streak. I will take that over the Juggernaut any day of the week. And there's always VTOLs going up, so kill streaks have been lackluster to me.
I've run all low kill streaks this game. Like, there's really no point because like I really don't even worry too much about my kill streaks in this game. Other than like I run a couple low ones. I run the VTOL because a lot of them, like, they're not so much hard to use, they just take you out. Like, you have to take out binoculars and basically find where you want to, like, and the way this game is, like, you're trying to do that and some asshole across the map just snipes you. Or you pull out this little laser pointer. Like I said earlier, I don't like ones that take me out of the game or take the gun out of my hand. So a lot of the times, like, if I can't just hit it and it calls the VTOL, which that one you do have to pick, but that one's real quick. Or like I run the UAV just because I run something. Like, it almost, like, I've been thinking of switching because you have now the option to run where you can get your perks instead. So
and then we'll move on from that now, from the kill streaks, and we're going to go into the gunplay. So just basically in terms of how the guns feel when you're shooting them.
Alright, so we're just going to keep this to how the guns feel.
Correct.
Alright, so I like how the guns feel on a lot of them. Some of them, it's one of those, like, when you first start and you don't have any attachments, yes, the gun's going to feel like shit. Like, it doesn't have any attachments. It's going to be jumpy. It's going to be hard to control. But once you start to basically unlock attachments, they start to get better. The same as, like, how they did when you're carrying an LMG. When you go to pull that one up, you're not, like, snapping it to you. You're not running fast with it. But once you shoot it, you can feel, like, the power in it. So just the way the recoil and everything goes. Same as like the sniper rifles. Like, I feel like they did a good job with the guns and how they feel for you. The issue lies in something we'll cover, I'm sure, here in a little bit. As far as the power to some of the guns, like when you're shooting them, you do have your guns that, for whatever reason, are 10 times better than any other gun.
Mm-hmm.
You basically are forced to use a handful of guns if you want to kind of be competitive. So it's kind of hard to, like, want to, like, there's all these guns that I want to use, but, like, I try to use them and it's just like you get dropped by. Like, you can have a sniper shotgun. Yes, a sniper shotgun. Like, that should not, like...
Yeah, the gunplay, they try to do something completely new in this Call of Duty. There's way more recoil than there ever was, which I'm fine with that. There is a learning curve. Adjusting attachments, combinations will help. So I'm okay with that aspect. And of course, we touched on the customization aspect with the guns as well. There's also the first Call of Duty in terms of multiplayer to account for bullet drop and bullet leading and things like that, which once again, I'm okay with. The biggest thing here is the inconsistency in terms of what guns are better than others and what needs nerfed. There's only a handful of guns that you can actually use in the game right now. Of course, the most the gun that has the most notoriety is one of the earliest guns you get, the M4. The M4 is literally what, like, 80% of the player base is using.
You get that gun. You start with that gun,
no,
don't you?
If you pre-ordered the digital, we got that
that's
version.
right.
But it's still very early.
Yeah.
And everyone's using it. It just completely annihilates you no matter what gun you're using. It's just the most steady. Doesn't even matter.
Rates,
you can have no attachments on it and still obliterate with it. And then there's, of course, shotguns. More in particular, the 725 shotgun. You can shoot it like a sniper rifle, like halfway across the map. It's ridiculous.
Shotguns in general, though, but that one is just,
out of all of them.
Shotguns are like...
And there's so many fun guns that I want to use in this game. Like, my favorite gun that I was hoping to try was the Scar, because it was my favorite gun in Modern Warfare 2, and I haven't really been able to use it because every time I'm getting obliterated, I got to go back to the M4, and it's extremely frustrating. They need to get some nerfs out on a few of these guns. They need to find more balance because it is very imbalanced right now, and there's only a handful of guns you can use to compete. And also, it all comes down to how you're playing the game too, which we'll touch about.
And I've always been like a pistol, and I've always liked using marksman rifle. It's impossible. Like, you can use some of the different assault rifles. You can use some of the SMGs. You can kind of get away with the LMGs, but, like, literally other than that, if you're not in ground war, you can't use any other guns. Like, you're kind of stuck. Like, there's a lot of the marksman rifles that I love, but I can't really, like... Yeah. But then you'll play against someone else that's running with it like it's nothing, but that's coming down the...
Yeah, so, the gunplay... I'm heated at what it is right now, and by heated I mean mad, because there needs to be more balancing. I'm okay with the recoil and learning curve, but right
I'm
now
okay
there's
with it
a lot
on my side. Like, what I have, like, I'm good with, but it's the other aspects of it.
Yep. All right, up next we're going to do challenges. So how do you feel about how they have the challenges set in this game?
You mean the fact that they don't work?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. The fact that they don't
The fact that I've literally done this one challenge. I've been on it, and I refuse to change it because there's no point, because I changed it in none of the other ones. Like, I have to get 5 wins in objective modes. I'm probably at like 30 plus wins in objective mode, and I'm still sitting at 0. How does that work?
Yep. So the way that this...
But the challenge is how they're set up. I'm not too... Like, I don't know. I don't mind it. I've liked better ways that it's set up, but I don't mind having, like, your daily missions and then having, like, the ones that you can select and work on. because some of them, like what I like about it is some of the challenges they force me to play differently. If the game played differently, the challenges really wouldn't be that bad because I wouldn't have a problem busting out a shot or like trying to get a point blank or trying to do something else or like the kill streak one. The kill streak one is really annoying and it really shouldn't be. You only need 25 kills with the kill streaks. And like when it works, like it really shouldn't take you that long. But for whatever reason, the way the kill streaks are set up, like
Yeah. I hate how challenges are done in this game. Traditionally in Call of Duty, you have all of your different pages of challenges: your boot camp challenges, your elite challenges, your killer challenges, and you have a whole page of challenges to complete. And each one you do will give you a reward, usually a title card, and that's how it should be. In this game, no, all these challenges are grouped, and they have like so many challenges within one grouping. You have to select that grouping and start with the first one and keep completing them in order to get things. And then at the end, you get you get like a title card or emblem or weapon charm for each one,
or
and then you get a blueprint of a gun is what you get at the end. I don't like how they have them set up because there's certain challenges that I want to do, but they're mixed into one grouping, and the way the game's running and everything right now, it's making it hard to do so. And of course, like we said at the beginning, they don't work. There is a bug right now. It's affecting all console and PC where when you select one of these group challenges to start it, it may work for the first one, but then it'll just disband. You'll come out of a game and it's no longer selected, so you weren't working towards anything. Or you'll get it, but it won't show that you got it. And then even once you hit the prestige mode in this game, which is there is no real prestige mode. You go into 100 levels of officer ranks, with each officer rank giving you a new challenge to work on as well to get ribbons to put towards what was supposed to be a player card, but I don't really know what's going on there. But I'll get these challenges and I'll do them and they won't fill up right either, so I don't know when they're working. But then the next time I get on the game, some of them will be filled in, so it's like, and then Infinity Ward put out this comment, well, a lot of the times they are working but it's just not showing it. Oh, so I don't know, and I don't know if I can move to the next challenge. And how has it not been fixed yet when the game has been out now for what, 2 weeks or whatever, or a week, 2 weeks? So it's,
you don't have to put out a finished game anymore.
yeah, you don't. And they're saying they're working on all these things, but I don't like how the challenges are in this game. I wish they would revert back. And it's and with all of the bugs, it's making it a miserable experience. All right, so now we go into game modes. So we'll just talk a little bit about certain things here. Let's start with the first one, campaign. From what you've played so far in campaign, do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, the campaign, I don't have a single negative about the campaign. It plays well, looks amazing, feels amazing, it's brutal, it's difficult. The story so far, from what I've seen, is good. The characters, I like. I mean, Captain Price.
Yeah.
I mean, all around, like, it's a good game.
Yeah, campaign, I beat it. I am not traditionally a campaign player in Call of Duty. I've only ever beat a handful of them. This one, though, because of other aspects we'll talk about, I decided I wanted to take some time to play campaign, and I absolutely loved it. From the graphics to the graphics are phenomenal, but the gameplay, the missions, the tactics, everything works so well. It is, like John said, extremely brutal. I mean, there were certain things that happened in the campaign I couldn't believe that was in there. I understand after playing the campaign why the game is banned in Russia, but they do some really dark stuff in this, and you have to make choices that'll leave you sitting there going, man, did I do the right thing? Like, I kind of feel dirty for doing that, or I feel awful for doing that. But it's just done so well, and I want to see more to the story. I loved playing the campaign. Spec Ops survival mode.
I had a lot of fun. I've played survival mode a good bit. I just think it's amazing. I used to love zombies, but I kind of fell away from that. I just think the aspect of like them shooting back at you, and just the wave mode and earning the points to get kill streaks, and if you're with a team and you guys can kind of like play off each other, have certain roles, you can really get far into like the levels and they get crazy. I really think that survival mode was it's almost perfect. I mean, it is buggy right now. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, like majority of the game does have bugs. Like I was playing the other day and I got downed. My teammate rezzed me. I rezzed, and I didn't have any guns. I couldn't pick up anything. All I could do is run around until I got downed again, and they rezzed me. And once again, it still didn't work. then the round ended, and and it gave me all my stuff back. But I was down early in, so like I'm literally just running around trying to survive. So it's things like that. Once they get that fixed, I don't really see.
Yeah. Yeah, I've really enjoyed playing survival. It's very similar to how it was in Modern 3. It's a lot of fun to play with friends. It is buggy right now, so that's, I think that's one of the trending themes with this game. But it is a lot of fun. The only thing that can deter it, too, is what map you get, 'cause some of the maps you play it on don't work very well for it. But overall, it's a very fun experience to see how long you can make it. And if they get the bugs and kinks worked out and maybe add a few things here and there,
Yeah, right now
it has a lot of potential.
The palace level, I can't remember what it's actually
Anaya
called.
Palace.
Yeah, Naya Palace. That was probably my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one
for
for
survival. That one was incredible.
Yeah, I definitely.
Piccadilly was horrible.
I highly recommend playing it. Xbox PC players, I highly recommend you guys checking it out. The next one is we're going to go into multiplayer. Now, we're not going to touch on like team deathmatch, domination, kill confirm, because these are modes that have been in Call of Duty basically forever, and they're basically the same as they've always been. In terms of just what they're about. But what we will touch upon is the two newest game modes this year. Well, actually, let's say three. Let's just start off with just a brief comment, because I know we haven't even really played it. Brief comment on the night vision mode.
From what I played in the beta, it's not for me. I can see why people do like it, but I mean, the way the game's playing, it just amplifies the annoyance of that game.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, if you like it, more power to you. It's not
for
my
me,
thing. So.
Yeah. You put on night vision goggles, the maps are at night, it's all green lit, and when you aim down sights, everyone just has a laser on their gun that shows where you are, and it's not a traditional aim down sight, it's almost more of like a Counter-Strike type thing. Don't like it at all. Alright, so the two big game modes for this year in terms of just drastically different from what Call of Duty has. Let's start off with Gunfight.
If you saw the other one, I was extremely hyped for this game mode, and I still love it. It's still one of the few things about this game that I don't have a single issue with. Have a ton of fun with it. I think that we are almost undefeated. Maybe like one loss. Like it's just that. And we do end up playing it a good bit because we get frustrated with the other styles. But all around, like it's just, I haven't had really any bugs in it. There's a couple maps that I don't really like, but other than that, like it's not like I don't hate them to the point where like I dread playing them. I just think the design's a little not that great. But yeah, Gunfights, I give that like I'll give Gunfight a 10 out of a 10.
Yep. Gunfight's my favorite mode in this whole game right now. For those of you who don't know, 2v2, small maps, guns are randomized. Everyone's using the same gun, but you never know what it's going to be. So also it gives you a chance to use all the guns in this game like you're not able to do in the other modes. It's small. You're forced to move around. Plus be tactical, but you have to move because it's quick time limits. If either team's still alive at the end, there's a flag that pops up in the middle that you have to capture, or if nobody captures it, very quickly the round ends and whoever has the most health wins. So you have to fight, you have to move, and you have to have skill. And you get a chance to use all the guns. The small maps are, for the most part, all very fun. It's fun to see the weapon combinations that pop up. And
it's things you wouldn't even think of.
Blast. It's intense. It gets your heart racing, especially if it's just you versus the other two, because maybe your teammate died and you want to save the show or save the round for your team. It's best of 6. They did so well. I can't wait to see the new maps that come out for this, the new weapon combinations they put in, and of course if they do like tournament style playlists and things like that. This has been my favorite game mode so far. Good work with it. Ground War.
Ground War should be incredible, and it has some really cool aspects. Like both maps are pretty cool. The problem with it is the way people play. We were playing last night, and I was literally like falling asleep because it just got boring because people don't really move too much, and like he even said like this really should not be boring. There's 32 versus 32, and like I don't know, there's just something about it like it's either they don't move or they take a tank up on the hill and they just shoot tanks, or they go in some random ass corner of the map and snipe. Like it's just really like the way people are playing it, and it just doesn't feel like I think it should.
Yeah.
And then with all the issues that we keep alluding that there's this issue we're going to talk about, and it's coming up. That kind of really ruins a lot of the game for me. I don't know, like there's just something about the ground war that like I can't really pinpoint what's missing. A lot of it is the action. I'm not a big fan of the one map with the skyscrapers. I do have fun on it because it's one of those that like I just don't care. So I'll climb to the top of the building, jump off, parachute, land, and like run in and like kill a bunch of people and then get killed.
Yeah.
Or go up there and snipe. The first ground war map that you got is the one that has the most issues to me because of how people play. They hide, they use the tanks, and it's just I don't know. Like I had high hopes for this game mode, and it just doesn't seem to be living up to what I expected it to be.
Same here. It is Conquest from Battlefield. That's all it is, and it became my biggest fear of what this game mode would become, just like that, and it has. I was hoping that vehicles wouldn't be a focal point, and that it wouldn't be like that you dominate when you're in tanks, but that is what it's become. A lot of people in the one map, like John said, they park their tanks up on a mountainside and just literally will sit there for the entire 20-25 minute duration of the game, and they will just sit there and just constantly hit the shoot button and fire their cannon down at the in the base of the map or in certain areas to just kill people that are running through. Other people go onto the top of skyscrapers, mountains, buildings, and they just sit up there and they constantly snipe. It is just a game of run around, die, run, die, run, die, run, die, or run a mile, die, run 2 miles, die, climb 18 floors of stairs, die. It's too at times it seems too hectic because of the areas that everyone just collaborates in, and other times it's extremely boring because if you get sick of just dying and walking and you try to sit somewhere, either you end up getting picked off from
Which
a guy
isn't
in a
our
tank.
style. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing we don't.
So it's hard to just kind of get anything going in that game mode. I mean, yeah, you can get on big kill streaks if you want to find a good place to go sit and camp, but it just hasn't been working with the layouts of these maps. Hopefully they'll fix some things and get it working, but right now Ground War's okay, but I'm not getting the enjoyment that I had hoped I would out of it. It's definitely innovative for Call of Duty in terms of what they've ever done, but it is Conquest from Battlefield, and I just feel like right now it's not in a good place.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're not going to touch on the regular modes that they're in there because they've been in there every
I
year.
will say the cyber attack was kind of fun. A little bit of a different.
Yeah, it's kind of a take
but
on
it's
search
still
and
the
destroy and
same,
demolition.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so next, let's talk about the maps.
There's a few maps that I do like. There's a couple of the maps that I don't, and I feel like I would like the maps if it wasn't for the spawn points. Because it's easy to get spawn trapped on certain game modes, and it's also like when you die and you spawn in, it's not like you have a few like a couple steps or just a little bit to go. You have to run half the map to get to where all the action is, and like we have said, a lot of people camp, so you're trying to get back into with like your teammates, and you're getting sniped from some person that you can't even see that's in some random spot. So some of the map design, they need to change a couple things. Like I feel like I'm kind of glad, and I was before, and I still am, that they kind of got away from the 3-lane. But there's a couple of the maps that like the field of view that you can get, like you should not be able to see the main spawn point from the other side of the map. There's the one map that with the bridge,
Euphrates Bridge.
Yeah, like you can literally, there's certain spots that you can literally see across the entire map. Like that should not be there. There needs to be something that breaks that up. You can see pretty far, but not like. So I mean, there are some flaws, and unfortunately, a lot of the maps are larger, so it kind of feeds to that camping aspect. It's hard to run around. My favorite map so far is Hackney Yard because it is a smaller. It doesn't have the 3-lane, but it's a smaller map, so you can kind of run around, do a little bit more running and gunning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much as much of a camp fest. So
yeah, the maps, there's a couple I like, but for the most part these maps are terrible. I'm just going to be blunt about it. These maps suck. They try to do something different by getting rid of the traditional 3-lane and making maps that are completely randomized, wide open in certain sections, but it's one big cluster, you know what. the maps simply promote camping. That's how they're set up to sit on rooftops, windows, caves, alleyways, bridges. It's not fun. It's set up to be completely tactical, and that's not what Call of Duty's supposed to be about. I can understand holding down certain areas and being tactical in certain ways and maps, but in every map, it makes no sense. Euphrates Bridge, which he brought up, is just you have to snipe on that map, and it's just so frustrating. You can't move around. Other maps, anytime you try to maneuver, you're going to get picked off from some angle somewhere, and they don't work. And also, there's not enough maps. This is the least amount of maps that Call of Duty has ever launched with in terms of just strictly multiplayer. There are separate maps for gunfight, and you have 2 ground war maps, but when you're just trying to play multiplayer like team deathmatch, dominant, there's not a lot to go off here. And even the 10v10 maps, I feel like should hold more people in them, because a lot of times when you spawn, like in that Anea Palace, you spawn so far away, and you have to run so far just to get back. There's only one section of the map that people go to, and it's the palace in the middle and the outside of it, and you spawn so far away, and half the time you run all the way back up to that palace, either to get sniped from the palace or die as soon as you get there, and it's extremely frustrating to the point where you just give up and go sit somewhere. It's the maps have a lot of problems. In the latest update in the PC files, they discovered 38 new maps that are supposedly going to be on the way, but who knows? Those may just be spread out later in the year, who knows? But hopefully they start giving us more, maybe give us some more traditional 3-lane maps, and remastering some maps, because we need more of a variety. Because right now, other than the gunfight maps, which I like most of those, most of the multiplayer maps suck. The ground war maps, just the way their landscape is, are frustrating. I am not a fan of these maps at all. Some of the worst in history. Okay, now that brings us to the final topic we're going to talk about before we give our final score, and that is the gameplay. The one we've been waiting to get to here.
Yeah. So, the gameplay is a giant shit show, in my opinion. It doesn't feel like Call of Duty. It kind of looks like Call of Duty, but it doesn't feel like Call of Duty to me. And that's because there's just so much camping. There's just like no one wants to move. And like we had said earlier, like the way you set up your guns, you can't really set up like a running gun. Everything has to go to your ADS, and even you can put everything as ADS, and you can literally shoot. There's a lot of the shoot first, die first in this game, unfortunately, and that is a lot to do with introducing the crossplay, in my opinion. We have a couple buddies that play PC, and we constantly are arguing with them because they're stubborn. They don't want to see that there's a difference. They think that we're just bitching and moaning for no reason. But like when you're watching a kill cam and you can literally watch them literally snap to you, they're running faster. Our one buddy he started streaming, and we're watching him and seeing how fast he's moving, how fluid everything is, the field of vision. It's just really not fair. I don't care what anyone says. You can say that like console has an advantage over PC. No, PC hands down has, like, I don't even know how you can even like think that, because of the frame rate, the field of view, the basically the speed of everything, the fluidity. I mean, it's easier to control a mouse and using the keyboard than having the 2 analog sticks to kind of control everything. In my opinion, like that's kind of my biggest issue. Like like in the beta, it really didn't seem that like that bad. But like now, you really are starting to feel it. And it's instances that like I shoot someone, they're not even looking at me. Somehow they can literally just like 180 around and drop me. I don't understand it. There's a lot of hit markers in it, and like we're forced to use certain guns, because like you can't use any of the other guns because you're getting melted by the M4, you're getting melted by the shotgun, and like you try to use other guns and you just get to the point where you're like, you know what, screw it, I'm using the M4 too. Everyone else is like, if I want to have a fighting chance, I have to use that gun. There's a lot of issues with the gameplay that like literally are kind of ruining this game. Like before, like me and him, we should literally have like an obscene amount of like hours like into this game. We have played it a good bit, but there's times that like I'm like I should probably go play, but like I have to like almost force myself to go play this game. Or like we're getting off work and I'm like, you gonna get on? He's like, I might. I'm like, yeah, I'm the same way. Normally it was like, all right, I'll be on at this time. I can't wait. Like this, it's just kind of like we play a couple games and it's like you want to go to Spec Ops or you want to go like to Gunfight just because of like the bigger maps and the way like it's playing right now. It's not a good Call of Duty. Like it's a shit show right now. Like unfortunately, like it's not what like we were hoping for.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. I think the tagline for this game should have been, we've been spending most of our lives living in a camper's paradise, because that's what this game is. One of the lead designers of this game was quoted, not this isn't word for word, but he was quoted saying in an earlier interview in the summer that they wanted to make a game that the new player to first-person shooters, or that former COD players that left the series back in the original Moderns, could come back into an environment where they could play tactical and feel safe, where they could be in areas to where they feel like they could have a great chance at gunplay and not have to run and gun and live up to the speed that a lot of the more recent Call of Duties have forced players to play to. Now, me
I just
myself,
love the fact that they use the word safe.
yeah, that
Like-
word, that is directly from the quote. I myself am a run and gunner. I've always been, and I've been able to, since the original Modern Warfare, going back in 2007, I've been able to run around maps, learn the routes, learn the spawns, and I've been successful. This is not me bragging, but in every Call of Duty beyond this point, I have had nothing less than a 2.0 kill-death ratio. Normally, I sit around a 215 to 220, and in this game, I'm not even close to a 2.0 kill-death ratio. As a matter of fact, I have more games where I either go barely even or slightly negative. And that is because everyone in this game is freaking camping. The way that these maps are set up, everyone for some reason is so scared to move. I don't know if they're worried about their kill-death ratio or what their friends are going to think or how they look compared to their favorite streamers. But they are just sitting in buildings with claymores, camping windows, camping doorways, laying in alleys, on top, underneath bridges. Nobody moves. I have never seen a Call of Duty with more games on team deathmatch, domination, and even headquarters that the game ends without reaching the final score. Most team deathmatch games end with a score in the 50s or 60s. They can't even make it to 75 because nobody moves enough. I've played rounds of headquarters where no team captures the headquarters, and eventually, because of time, it just moves it to a new area. How is that possible? There are games, they just added kill confirm to the game. There are people all over the forums claiming that the kill confirm games don't make it to the end because nobody will go out and get the tags. They will just sit back and kill.
We called that whenever they
Yeah.
announced kill confirmed. I was like, there's not even a point to play because no one's gonna like go get the tags. I'll be the one asshole trying to get the tags, getting killed.
Yeah,
Like,
it's driving me insane. You can't play this game like you're for someone like me that's a run and gunner. You can't run and gun. I have to try to make all of my classes pretty much M4, but to dictate to what can I just shoot quickly with because I want to have some chance to fight back against the guy in the window or against the guy laying down in a bush, and most of the time you can't fight back against it. The time to kill is very quick, which I don't have a problem with that.
I don't know.
But-
Are you still getting? I'm still getting the instances that when I shoot someone and
You
I
get
get
the hit
kill.
markers?
No, that
Oh.
no. And then I get killed, and then I see the kill cam, and it looks nothing
Oh,
like
yeah.
what I saw.
well,
in
that's
game.
always been a problem with Call of Duty.
I'm just saying, like that's
like,
still
Yeah,
like,
lag compensation, things not adding up right, shoot first, die first. But it seems really prevalent in this game.
Yeah.
It's a shame. And then that brings me to the crossplay like John was talking about. I've already been in several arguments with my brother and friends over this because it is the worst thing I think Call of Duty's ever done. I hope that there is no more crossplay going forward, which I know there will be always going forward, because PC has a competitive advantage. Mouse and keyboard, if you know how to work a mouse and keyboard, you're always going to beat a controller unless it's someone who is literally a pro on controller.
Where you're brand new using mouse and keyboard.
Correct. And they have a field of view advantage. They have basically little to no recoil on a mouse and keyboard. It's not the same. It's not fair. They're frames per second. I shouldn't have to play with them, but unfortunately, a handful of our buddies, including my brother, got it on PC, and I don't want to not play with them because I enjoy playing with them.
Our one buddy literally bought it on console, played it for like a couple hours, and it was like, I'll be back, guys. Went, bought another copy for PC, and will not touch it on console.
Yeah, and it's just extremely frustrating. And even if I'm playing by myself, yeah, I can turn off crossplay if I want and play, but if I want to play Ground War, I have to turn it back on. It won't allow me. Same thing I feel that they'll probably do if and when Battle Royale launches. They'll force you to do crossplay. So Battle Royale will probably be extremely frustrating playing against PC players. But overall, this experience has been miserable. I've had days so far where I haven't gotten on the game at all, or I've had a chance to play and decided, nah, I'll just go do something else instead. Or if I am on, I play a few games multiplayer and decide I'm going to go play Spec Ops, so I'm facing offline people, or I'll go play the campaign, which is what led me to play the campaign in the first place. Gunfight, like I said, is my favorite mode because people are forced to move here, and everyone's on the same playing field because not everyone can use the M4. As a matter of fact, the M4 barely ever comes up.
Mm-hmm.
So I find my success to be at its highest on Gunfight because I can play in a more traditional style. They really went to bring in the tactical gamer. They wanted to bring in fans from Rainbow Six Siege, Counter-Strike, and even Battlefield to try to up their sales, and in doing so they shit on the traditional COD player, and I am very angry that they did that. And of course, crossplay, like I said, adds a whole new point of frustration. Also, the radar is done very poorly. When you shoot your gun, you don't show up on the radar on the minimap like you've done in every COD beforehand, and now they're saying, oh, we're going to add that in a future update. Well, no, just add it now. It doesn't make any sense. They have to find a way to stop the camping. Now they just add in their most recent update that if you throw a stun grenade, it will disable a claymore for 3 seconds. Yeah, that may help a little bit, but it's not going to help much. And honestly, the only way I think one of the things they're going to have to do is they're going to need to make it that if someone doesn't move within a certain radius, within a certain amount of time, they will be pinged on the radar. Even if you make that a game mode, whatever. There needs to be a game mode called ping, where if you don't move within so many feet in so many seconds, you just flash on the radar for a few seconds to show where you are. So, and just moving from window to window doesn't work. You'd have to literally go from floor to floor or out the building and back in. So that way it forces some sort of movement, because there's no punishment for people who sit, and that's all people are doing.
And it's not so much sit. Let us really emphasize they're sitting, crouched, or laying down, ADS'd in. It's not like
at a door or behind a door.
They're
or at
literally
a window.
just sitting there with the gun, waiting for you to come in, finger on the trigger, whatever, just waiting.
Yeah, you watch the kill cam, and the guy's literally was sitting like this behind a door, and it looks like there's nobody at the controller. But then when you walk in the door, if you don't already blow up from their claymore, if they don't have one, as soon as they walk past you, they shoot their gun at you real quick, and then they're just right back. It's like you're literally playing against robots or something, and it's extremely frustrating. I've never had scores like this in a Call of Duty game, and it's not like our skill is just gone. It's just that it's extremely frustrating, which probably makes you play even worse. Every time we do play with our buddies that are on PC, their scores are always at the top of the list, and all the people that are in the lobby or in the console are at the bottom. It's extremely frustrating, and I'm not enjoying playing. I want to enjoy this game. I mean, you saw, if you watched our video, how hyped we were for it. So it's not like I want to hate on this game. I want this game to be great. I hope they fix some things. They implement things to make it better. But right now, I don't hold this game, as far as the multiplayer, with high regard. And until they make some changes, my playtime is not going to increase. As a matter of fact, it'll probably decrease. When I'm talking about it, it's like, okay, I want to go get on COD. Maybe it'll play better today. But then 4 games in, I'm like, I already want to get off. And last night we spent the majority of the night playing Spec Ops because we got so frustrated with online. And I'm not saying it's all razzle-dazzle for PC players. I'm sure you have a lot of the same complaints and problems, especially when you're playing against other PC players, and you probably get killed by a lot of campers that are on console as well. But in terms of the competitiveness, I feel like there's that advantage. But yeah, I mean, right now, as far as the gameplay goes, I don't have very many good things to say. If we didn't just get done shooting a bunch of videos and had more energy, I'd probably be yelling more at the screen right now. But we just filmed a whole heck of a lot of content for you guys, so we're kind of... And right now, honestly, our mood is sort of how we feel about this game. There's not a whole lot to get excited about, unfortunately. There's some great things surrounding the gameplay and the aspects and customization and graphics and sound, but the overall gameplay is extremely disappointing. So without further ado, I know we talked your ear off. This was a very long review. It kind of needed to be to break everything down. We're going to give our final score of where we hold it right now. Now, of course, this score can change throughout the year for better or for worse. And our score is out of 10, and you can also have half amounts as well. So 5.5, 6.5, whatever you want it to be. Out of 10. So, John, right now, with what you've played, all the aspects, every category went over, taking it into account, where do you hold this game out of 10?
So I'm gonna probably end up. I'm gonna put it at about um, a 5.5 out of 10. And the 5.5 is for gunfight, campaign, spec ops. The lack of being able to get to 10 out of 10 falls into multiplayer.
Yeah. I'm just going to go slightly higher than you did. I'm going 6.5 out of 10, which is still much lower than I would have thought I would ever be scoring this game right now. From playing the beta, which of course the beta was completely different because there was no kill death ratio, no stats counted, so everyone was running around more. Nobody knew what they were doing, so it made it more fun. It kind of tricked us in a way. I would have never thought, just going off the beta and how we were hyped, I had this thing at like a 9.5. The only reason why it's getting a 6.5, like he said, the campaign, how brilliant it is, the spec ops from survival to the missions, how fun they are, the greatest gun customization they ever did, the graphics, the sound, that all gets it at least up to a 6.5. But then how terrible the maps and gameplay is right now, got to drop it all the way back down. So 6.5 is where I'm going right now. I would have thought I'd be telling you guys 9.5.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Hopefully it changes. Hopefully we do an update later in the year and we go, hey guys, right now we got Call of Duty back up to 9. They fixed a lot of the bugs, the problems are gone, but for right now, you heard it, 5.5, 6.5 is where we stand. So let us know, for any of you watching this that have gotten your hands on Modern Warfare, give us your breakdown, whether it be campaign, spec ops, multiplayer. What's your favorite mode? What's your favorite gun? Do you agree with us? And most importantly, what is your score out of 10 right now? Because I'm very curious. It seems there's some divisiveness in this game, but most people seem to be leaning more towards what we're saying. So let us know in the comments. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed watching this video today, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We got some Call of Duty to play, I guess. And we plan to get back on here in a little bit, give it another shot today, see where it brings us. But thank you guys so much for watching our Call of Duty Modern Warfare official review. Stay tuned for more video game reviews, top 5 lists, and everything else we have coming along the way. Once again, you've been watching Now Showing with
John
and Cam. And until next time, take care, everyone. And hopefully you're out there on the battlefield in Call of Duty making it work, because right now, we're not.